On average, a healthy human produces between 100 and 250 grams of waste each day. To manage this universal need, the modern world has embraced innovation, none more celebrated than 6-liter flush toilet, a symbol of sanitary triumph in the industrialized age. We have endless names for it.
The loo, the commode, the water closet,
the chamber pot.
But behind these names lies a hidden truth.
Squatting isn't primitive. It's powerful, it's efficient, it's anatomical, it's natural.
I am saying and declaring that the current toilet design is wrong.
Long before plumbing or porcelain, sanitation began as a divine lesson. Designate a place outside the camp where you can go to relieve yourself. As part of your equipment, have something to dig with. And when you relieve yourself, dig a hole and cover up your excrement. Deuteronomy 23, verse 12 to 13. That command did 3 things at once. It kept the camp clean, it stopped disease, and it positioned the body correctly.
He's showing them what position to assume when they defecate, because he told them to dig the ground.
Squatting, not sitting, for complete elimination.
Aha! Okay, can you see that position? Thank you. Stand up. Now, that's the natural position that he was teaching them how to defecate. Why did he do that? He could have given them another way, right? He could have made them do it any other way. But he says, that's the way.
What medicine today calls ideal anorectal alignment, Scripture described thousands of years ago.
This position aligns the rectum with the anal canal, relaxing the puborectalis muscle. It helps to straighten the anorectal angle, which facilitates smoother bowel movements.
The oldest known sewer systems can be traced back to 2600 BC, when the Indus Valley civilization connected latrines to primitive street drainage systems. Ruins from the ancient city of Ephesus in modern-day Turkey show that the Romans were big fans of communal toilets.
There's a fantastic example of a really well-preserved municipal toilet. If you wanted to visit, you'd pay your fee, you'd take a seat on the nice, comparatively clean facilities, and you'd just have a catch-up with whoever was sitting around you.
The forerunner to the modern flush toilet can be traced back to 16th century royalty and a man named Sir John Harrington.
We know he was Queen Elizabeth I's godson, and we know that he invented a very rudimentary toilet.
Harrington's toilet came equipped with a cistern, seat, and flush handle, and was rumored to have been used by Queen Elizabeth herself. But the design never caught on. Some believe this was because it caused a royal stink. The problem was that the pipe connected the toilet directly to the ground below. Its poor design allowed the odor from one's poop to travel back up. Over the next century, various versions of the water closet were introduced across Europe, but the issue of backflowing noxious gases remained. It wasn't until 1775 when a watchmaker named Alexander Cummings adapted a key plumbing feature that flush toilets began to go mainstream.
One of the things he worked on was perfecting the plumbing of the flush toilet at the time. So he created something called an S-bend, which is exactly what it sounds like. It's a pipe in the shape of an S.
Connected to the underside of the toilet bowl, the S-bend allowed water from the flush to rest in the pipe, thus creating a seal or trap that prevented odor from emerging.
The global toilet market was valued at approximately $8.3 billion in 2021 and is projected to reach $17.3 billion by 2031, with an expected compound annual growth rate of 7.6%. In 2013, the United Nations adopted November 19th as the World Toilet Day.
I want to talk to you today about toilets.
The Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation committed approximately $400 million to reinvent the toilet.
So the toilet is designed to work in low-income cities where there were no sewers, so it needs to work without access to water or electricity because those are often scarce in those areas.
These toilets have been installed primarily in less developed nations, designed to process human waste with little or no water. Central to this system is the Omni Processor, a machine that converts human waste into drinkable water.
It's water.
While promoted as a life-saving innovation, this method poses serious health and safety risks. The process can leave behind chemical and biological contaminants, generate toxic byproducts, and depends on fragile systems of monitoring that many regions cannot sustain. Today, one of these machines operates in Dakar, Senegal, under a project by the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, presented as a philanthropic initiative to save lives and reduce disease in the world's poorest regions. In several countries, governments have enacted laws and initiatives to eradicate squat toilets, stating that it's undignified and unsafe. In Zimbabwe, in the town of Hwange, the local board issued notices requiring households to replace squat toilets with sitting toilets, with fines for non-compliance.
You know, today's toilets, you only sit on them like a chair, right? So it's convenient. It's part of the problem in today's world. This is how you go to toilet today. Not good for your body. I am saying and declaring that the current toilet design is wrong.
Toilet architecture is standardized globally to mimic a chair, because to the designers, sitting symbolized refinement and class. These toilets are built at fixed heights. The higher the seat, the more acute the hip angle, and the greater the strain on the abdomen. Modern comfort height toilets, 17 to 19 inches tall, make it even worse, widening that angle further.
The angle in which you sit can have a huge impact on your colon. When you're sitting with your knees lower than your hips, it creates a kink in your colon. Imagine trying to slide down a slide with a big old bump in the middle.
This is the reason they're having piles, hemorrhoids, and then they start struggling, making it hard to come out. They sit in the toilet for 30 minutes, 45 minutes, 1 hour, and they're struggling. And the thing is not coming out. Then they start calling Jesus.
So piles is a condition where the blood vessels gets bigger.
Yeah, bigger. Okay.
What can this dilated blood vessels do? What are the complications?
See, grade 1, okay. The pile is inside. Grade 2 means the pile will come out of the anal canal and go in.
They can actually see a growth outside.
It will come out and go in. Grade 3 is it will come out. It will not go in. They have to push in the hand.
I've seen that as well.
Grade 4 is it will come out completely. Even if you push, it doesn't go inside. That is the time you lose battles in life. So, you said complications. People have bled to death.
When I lived in Nepal, I didn't even know what constipation felt like. We had squat toilets. I pooped regularly, no pain, no struggle. Life was simple. My gut just worked. But when I moved to the US, everything changed. The first time I got constipated, it was confusing. Then came the hemorrhoids, the itching, the pain. What had changed? Sure, my diet, my stress, my schedule, but also my toilet. I had gone from squatting to sitting.
Straining during bowel movement places immense pressure on the spine, tensing both the abdominal and back muscles. Over time, this constant effort leads to muscle fatigue, stiffness, and pain that can radiate throughout the body.
Learn patience. Patience in the toilet. Yeah, I'm telling you. Yes, because these are things that the Spirit of God has guided me to tell you. That fast pushing you are trying to do. Listen, All that force you're trying will give you problems. Train children not to hurry. Train them.
In severe cases, excessive strain can cause complications such as fecal impaction or even cauda equina syndrome, a serious condition marked by intense back pain that demands urgent medical care.
Fecal impaction. It's a severe form of constipation where a hardened ball of stool blocks the rectum so that regular stool cannot pass through. Now, these stool balls are routinely the size of a softball. In some cases, I've seen them grow the size of a volleyball. Treating fecal impaction involves a very pleasant inserts a gloved, lubricated finger into the rectum to scrape away at and break up the hardened stool until it is in small enough chunks that it can be removed manually.
The spinal cord ends at L1 and it sends these strands that come down that look like a horse's tail, or I like to tell patients it looks like strands of spaghetti that come down after L1. And these nerves go through the buttock and down the legs, and we call it cauda equina because cauda is for tail, equine is horse, and somebody thought, well, let's name it cauda equina because it looks like a horse's tail. So cauda equina syndrome is when there are symptoms from compression of the nerves that go down the buttock, the leg, and also that feed the bladder, the bowel, and give you sexual function. So what are the 5 symptoms? The first is either one-sided or two-sided buttock and leg pain or sciatica that goes all the way down the leg. Sometimes it's accompanied by leg weakness. Patients may have a foot drop. Number 2, sadoanesthesia. So the nerves S2 to S5 give you sensation around the anal region, the vagina, the scrotum, that saddle area. So if you have numbness or lack of sensation in that area, that is indicative of cauda equina syndrome. Third is sexual dysfunction in men, difficulty having an orgasm, as well as an erection. And in women, difficulty having an orgasm, sometimes because of numbness in that perivaginal labial area. And fourth is loss of bladder control, which is one of the biggest one, is really quite common. So your bladder, of course, fills up with urine, and then you're supposed to know that you're going to empty the bladder and then go to the bathroom. So one variety of bladder dysfunction is the inability to empty your bladder. So even though you're trying to empty, you still have lots of residual urine that's in your bladder and you feel like your bladder is still full. And the second is complete loss of bladder control or incontinence, where you actually have urine that's in your pants and it's uncontrollable. Last, number 5 is loss of bowel control. Some people will find stool in their pants. They don't even know that they went to the bathroom, and that's because of loss of the sphincter tone and the inability to control bowel movements.
There are lots of people who are having problems they don't need to have. And they're using drugs, getting all kinds of drugs, but they're getting the problem from the convenience of life. That's creating unnatural situations that they really can't have the comfort of life that they expected.
Diverticulitis, trapped stool from straining, can lead to infections in small pouches, diverticular, that form in the colon wall.
Diverticulitis can occur in any part of your colon. Left colon, right colon, even sometimes the transverse colon. But the vast majority of diverticulosis occurs in the sigmoid colon, and that's why the vast majority of diverticulitis occurs in the sigmoid colon. Since the sigmoid colon lives in your left lower part of your abdomen, that's typically where the pain starts. It can also be associated with a fever and changes in your bowels, like diarrhea or constipation. But the reason that diarrhea can occur with diverticulitis is the swelling that develops in the wall of the bowel from the inflammation can narrow the passageway and prevent only liquid going through, or sometimes can get so narrowed that it doesn't let anything go through, and that's why people feel constipated. Another thing that can occur is pain when you urinate, because that sigmoid colon lies against the bladder, so sometimes it pushes against it when it gets inflamed. So that's an uncomplicated attack of diverticulitis. Does that mean there's a complicated attack of diverticulitis? Unfortunately, yes. And let me say, I hope you never get that. But that occurs when that diverticulum ruptures and releases air or fecal material into the abdominal cavity. Now, if that happens and you're lucky, the abdominal organs or the fat in your belly walls it off and prevents it from spreading. This creates what's called an abscess. Now, if you're unlucky, that ruptured diverticulum spreads throughout the abdominal cavity, doesn't get walled off, and patients develop what's called peritonitis. This typically requires emergency surgery, which involves washing out the abdomen, cleaning out the infection, and removing the ruptured part of the bowel.
An anal fissure, a fissure.
No, what does that mean?
It's literally a crack in the skin or the lining of the very outside of the anus. And it happens very commonly. It happens mainly because patients have hard stools, and it literally can crack the skin. That exposes the muscle, and the muscle goes into spasm, and it's a cycle. The fissure causes a spasm. The spasm keeps it from healing.
In severe cases, prolonged straining can cause part of the rectum to protrude outside of the body. Statistics reveal that roughly 3/4 of adults suffer hemorrhoids at some point, and the average person spends about 3 years of life on a toilet. That's over 1 hour and 42 minutes per week. And 1 in 4 adults suffers chronic constipation. The modern design, though convenient, has subtly altered human physiology. The posture God taught, once forgotten, hold the key to a healthier life.
So I said, Lord, what do they do? He said, tell them now to get as close as possible to the natural way. How can they do it as close as possible? Okay. What can you do to raise this? 2 things. Watch now. So he's like close to the squatting position. Maybe you put something like a stool. Did you get that? Until you get a stool, best position, go like this. Stay like this. Within the first few minutes, whatever you want to come out will come out.
When you raise those knees above hip level, it relaxes the puborectalis muscle. This muscle forms a sling around the rectum and can create a tight angle when we're sitting. By elevating the knees, you straighten the anal rectal angle, making it easier for things to slide on through.
Relief depends less on where we sit than on what we eat. A stool that passes easily begins with water, 2 to 3 liters daily, fruits, vegetables, whole grains, legumes, yogurt, kefir.
Drink water regularly. It will help in your system. A lot of sicknesses that people have, if they will drink water, listen, they won't tell you this in the hospital. Why? Because they need your money. The more you pay for the drugs, the richer they get. Why would they tell you the truth that will make them poor? But I can tell you.
From the wilderness camp to the modern city, the toilet tells a story of divine foresight and human innovation. God's command preserved health and dignity. This is a clarion call for an urgent redesign of toilet systems around the world.